today we are talking about living the good life and what that means. What it means to live the good life. And so when you think about living a good life, I am simply talking about, I just want to make sure my microphone is good, sound is good. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so living a good life, that simply means that you are practicing self awareness. In order to live the good life, you need to be emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially well. But what does that really look like in today's society? What does that look like for women? What does that look like for the emerging woman of 2024? What does that look like for a woman today that is just like you, just like me? Whether you are in a relationship or not, if you have children, if you are in your career, but yet you have started a business, you're an entrepreneur, whether you are an executive woman climbing that corporate ladder, what does the good life really look like and mean for you? I mean, when I think about it, I think of myself practicing emotional stability. And I'm not really sure how to share my screen. Um, So Yanni, I don't know if you can text me on how to share my screen on Facebook, the instructions, because I really wanted to just share my screen and just go over the good life and what you consider to be the good life. Because for some of us, it may look like I'm in this particular tax bracket. I'm making this kind of money. And so therefore, I'm living the good life. So financially, on paper, it looks as though I'm living a good life. But emotionally and mentally, you're not well. There is so much inside of you bottled up that you haven't even dealt with because you're so busy putting on this front, this facade, this faux, this, this pretendness. You're living in like this fairy tale land, and you want to portray to the world that I'm living a good life. But financially, you look well, but emotionally and mentally, you don't sound well. And if we're not sounding well, what's coming out of us is eventually going to take over how we show up physically, right? It's not just living a good life and I have the money and I have the car and I have the house and I'm traveling, because that's not enough. That is that is nowhere near enough of what you need today in order to live the good life. Okay, she said click the three dots. I'm looking for the three dots. So I am on my laptop. And I am not sure which three dots on my laptop you would be preferring to. Um, and I'm usually so well with social media, but at this time, I am not able. Let's see, chat box, featured links. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, I'm not seeing those things. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going. Hey, Dr. Nikita Nietzsche. Hello, Mrs. Cloud. Um, so living a good life. Um, what do you consider living a good life? And so I talked a little bit about financially well. That's easy, right? Being financially well is easy. I just don't see where I can share my screen. Because I really want you to see this. But emotional, if we just stop and we pause right here in this moment, what do you need emotionally today? Or what do you need just for yourself today? Today, this moment, Thursday, June 20th, 2024, 7:45, we're just taking this moment to just stop and pause and figure out what we need. Whether it's emotional, mental, financial, spiritual, or financial. Um, it's really about the stop and the pause. Because if you never stop to see what you need, how do you know that you really need it today? Maybe it was just something that you needed yesterday, or maybe it's something that you might need later, but today you need to work on your emotional stability. Where am I emotionally? Why am I always so angry? Why do I get upset easily? How come a text message bothers me this much? What is it that this person is saying to me that is literally making my skin boil? Why am I so easily triggered by other people? And if you are hearing these questions and you've asked yourself these questions, or that you have experienced this and yet to ask yourself these questions, it's an indication that perhaps your problem is in the emotional wellness of your life. Because every day you're waking up mad, or every day you're waking up sad, and you're fighting and you're battling depression, and you have so many thoughts of worry and fear of what tomorrow is going to bring, but yet you don't have the capability or the wherewithal to take action for you to get help, then that's perhaps a place that you need to pause in, right? I need to stop and take a look, because maybe it is my emotional. Maybe it is something happening with me mentally where I'm waking up sad every single day. Because all of our stories look different. Each of us are different. But some of the things that we're experiencing are the same. The same pains, the same traumas, the same griefs, the same battles that you may have with your mother, maybe I'm having with mine. And because we have not yet connected, and because I don't know how to talk about it, I'm stuck. And I'm stuck right there. Or perhaps you're going through a divorce or a breakup, and while you are living apart, you are still wanting that person to be with you. And so you find yourself bottled up with so many emotions. And going through the stages of grief is uncomfortable. It's difficult. It's downright nasty sometimes, and ugly. And you need to be connected with the right people to help you sustain yourself, manage your emotions, manage your thoughts, so that you can be okay today. And the reason I'm honing in on today is, what do you need today? When we stop and we pause and we take this moment to just be vulnerable with ourselves. I'm online, so I'm not even in front of you. You're at your own house and I can't even see you, but I know that you're hurting and you're crying on the inside, and your heart is so broken. It's so broken. But you ain't told a soul. Oh, girl, you show up every day and you got it together. You put your lipstick on and you're looking good and you smell good. And when you walk in, you sound good. But every day you're crying on the inside. It's something that's dying out. But it's like you want to hold on to what is lost, to what is dead that's inside of you. And if we never let it go, and if we never release it, we're going to always stay stuck. And we're always going to be the victim. And we'll never move to the place to where we're supposed to be as women, as executive women, as bosses, as women who are dominating the marketplace in business, in arts and entertainment, as women who are dominating in healthcare, who are dominating in education. How can you show up your best self if you don't even know what to give yourself on a daily basis? Because we can give ourselves the quick thing, right? I'm gonna get on my phone, I'm gonna scroll, I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna look at that, and I'm gonna get so much information from other people, but not one thing, not one TikTok, not one reel that you watched helped you better yourself for today. So the reason this is so important is because when you are lost, when you are broken, and you are not connected with people, or you're not connected to a community, there's no group for you to fall in, then you just rest and you just go ahead and get in your bed and you stay there and you literally stay stuck. And that is where the depression just come on in and be your friend. Anxiety sleeps with you. Depression goes to bed with you. Anger opens up the blanket for you and wants you to get in bed with it. But when you are practicing self-awareness, when you are practicing emotional stability, when you are grounded in your self care. Self awareness is self care. Self awareness is the practice of self love. It's the knowing what I need today so that I can sustain. So when I was coming out of a DV relationship, I had to make a decision. And I was so lost and I was so broken. And coming out of that relationship, living in a shelter for 9 months with my two children, a baby and a 3-year-old, I literally had to make some decisions for myself. And I decided in that moment, in that time, that I knew one thing about me. And I felt, and I believed this to be true at that moment, was that I was not a good picker. I was not picking the right man to go through the journey of life with me. I realized that about myself. My choice to pick this man didn't work out well. I'm literally living in a shelter for 9 months. He's blowing my phone up. He wants us to get back together. But I'm so lost. I'm so broken. I'm so torn. But I knew that because I had survived death and been brought back to life, there was no way that I was ever going to go back through that door to be in that relationship with that person. And so through that experience, I realized as I'm living in a shelter that I wasn't a good picker. That I don't really understand how to pick the right man. But more than that, I realized I don't know enough about me because I was not in a place of self-awareness. I knew that being in a physically abusive relationship was wrong, and I knew that I deserved more, but I couldn't understand why I kept staying. Yes, soon it was a financial dependency because I was giving him all my money. I would go to the salon in downtown Chicago, work all day, Tuesday through Saturday, then on Saturday night, come home and give him all of my money. And I don't know when it happened, but somehow in that relationship, it just happened, right? And so I had to get to the place of coming to terms with who I am, what my strength was and what it wasn't. And so when we look at today, realizing what our strength is, what's really, really hurting you, is it in a place of emotions? Is it in a place of physical ailments that your body is in so much pain? And it could be from, yes, it could be from diabetes or high blood pressure, or it could be some illness that you have. But being able to wake up every day and make decisions from your daily oasis of peace, knowing that today I get to live another day. Yes, this ailment is with me for a moment, but having the mindset that it will not control me, it will not overtake me. Today, I'm gonna have a good day, no matter how much pain I'm in. Or it could just be being overweight, and I know I just had my 4th baby during the pandemic, so I'm still trying to get the weight off, right? But I haven't yet reached the goal. I'm trying to be 150, but I'm not there yet. But I'm no longer waking up like I did in 21, in 2022, and 2023, saying all these negative thoughts about my body every time I looked at my stomach, or every time I looked in the mirror and I realized that I'm not the same weight, or I realized that my body didn't bounce back and my skin didn't snap back. It didn't do what it did with the first baby and with the second baby. And hey, it's the 4th baby, so I kind of threw my hands up. But that's not the end of me, because every time I looked in the mirror, I didn't like what I saw. And so until I began to work on my mind to stop saying those negative thoughts to me, I wasn't living a good life. I was not living a life and making decisions from my daily oasis of peace. I'm making decisions from a place of emotional instability, because I'm not well emotionally, because when I look in the mirror, I didn't like what I saw. And I had to get to a place where I began to master myself. And I said, I'm going to do it again like I did when I was coming out of that DV relationship. I'm going to learn to master me again. But this time, it's a little bit physical because I want the weight to come off. It's emotional because it's so many thoughts running through my head. And I'm trying to work this job. But at the same time, I have this business, My Fearless Future. And I'm trying to serve all of these women. And then I have to serve my children and I have to serve my husband. But then there was no time left, or I was not making time for me, for me, for me. So when you think about the emerging woman of 2024, that's you, executive woman. That's you, businesswoman. You are in this group because you have a business. You are in this group because you want to bloom. You are in this group. And I have this great quote for the spring, and it says, bloom where you are planted. So it's so important to realize, where am I today? What do I need today? Where am I planted today? What is in my soil that needs to come out? What is in my soil that is impacting my emotional stability? What's in my soil that's impacting how I show up physically? That's really controlling the thoughts that are in my mind. Do I really have control over it? And if I don't, how do I get it? How do I get plugged back in? And that goes to that psychological piece, getting plugged back in, getting plugged into a therapist, getting plugged into a community of people that have wellness in it. Not just we going to go kick it, girl, and girl, come hang out with me, but then you come back home empty. You have to get into environments that fill you up. And so while I'm living in that shelter, I'm in an environment and I'm so broken, but because it's a DV shelter, I'm getting filled up. They're pouring back into me what I needed, and I didn't know I needed it. But that may not always be everybody's story. So when we do the stop and the pause, we look at ourselves today. What do you need today? What do you need right now in this moment? Me, I need to be 150 pounds. I'm just going to keep it real. I need to be 150 pounds by the end of December. um, and that's still my goal. I don't care. It's been my goal since the baby came in February 2021, and it's still my goal today in June 2024. It's still my goal because I want that. I know how good I'm going to look. My confidence going to be through the roof, right? I know that's what I need. But before I could even begin to work on my physical, I had to get my mind, my emotional wellness together, because I kept waking up every day talking about my body, and I didn't like it, and I didn't like what I saw, and I didn't like my stomach, and I mean, and these are natural things that we experience when we have babies, but why was it bothering me so much? And I knew I needed to get plugged in, and so I got plugged in with therapy. So while I'm trying to host groups for women, I needed to take care of me, and so I stopped and I paused. So everybody business paused during the pandemic, but that allowed me to reshape my foundation and figure out, who am I going to be in 2024 and 2025? Who am I going to come? What woman is going to emerge? What version of me is going to come out of this pandemic? And I'm glad that it's the version that you're listening today, who has practiced that mental, that emotional, that spiritual, that financial. And those just are my pillars that I live off on. And when something is off, I check me first. Why did I just snap on that kid? Why did this text message come and bother me so bad? Why, you know, you know, whatever, right? Why is this teenager needing this thing, right? I have 3 teenagers and 1 3-year-old. Okay, so that's just the life within itself. But I had to figure out how to manage all of that and manage me. Because for so long, for my daughter's going to be 20, so for 20 years or 17 years, I always put everybody else first. And so for the last 3 years, I learned to put me first. And not that I'm choosing me first and I'm going to the spa and I'm getting my hair done before I pay my bills or any craziness, right? But I'm choosing to make sure that when I show up every single day, that I am emotionally well, that I am mentally sound. And if I'm not, I'm going to my toolkit and I'm calling somebody. I'm calling my therapist. I'm texting her, because we got this great relationship, because she was my client and now I'm her client. Crazy. But I'm texting her. I'm getting plugged in. I'm listening to something in the morning that is going to fill me up. And then I get to the ratchetness and the gossip TV and the gossip columns later on in the afternoon. But I literally change my mornings so that I can take care of me. So that when I come out of my room, I'm good morning, good morning, good morning. And it's genuine. And I want to do it. And I want to serve. Because as a mother, as a wife, you get tired. You get bored. You get depressed. You get angry. You get upset. You go through grief. You grieve different stages as the children grow up and move on, right? And so now I know for sure I have to run with my son. I have three older daughters, and I have to run with my son. He's three, right? And I physically want to run with him, and I can't do it at the weight that I'm at. I physically, if he's into sports, I want to be there. If he's into robotics, I want to be there. I don't want to be 60 on crutches trying to get to his graduation because diabetes runs in my family and I've lost a leg. I'm just keeping it honest. I'm just keeping it real with us because I want us to not only just stop and pause and see what we need today, but it is because of what is coming for us in our future. And that day is going to come whether or not you want it to. But the goal is, the point is, will you be ready? Will you be mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially ready? Because that is truly living a good life. Because if you can have all of those things, the cars, the clothes, the houses, the traveling, it will be that much more. The surrounding of community and family, it'll be that much better. So that is my talk today on living the good life. And so I hope that you all have enjoyed this short presentation on living a good life. And I am hosting the Self Love Parlor, and it is for executive women. And we have been doing some amazing things. This past May, we were in the Willis Tower, and we had an amazing time. And so this summer, next month in July, we're doing the Summer Soiree. And we are doing art therapy, and this is the place where you get to stop and pause. And so I curate spaces for executive women to just come out, for moms. Hey, maybe you're not, maybe you don't own your own business. Maybe you're not necessarily a community um, you're not necessarily plugged in so much into your community because you are raising a family, you are a wife, you are a mom, and you're staying at home right now, you're just doing some other things. I want to invite you out to stop and pause. This is where you get to leave a baby at home. You don't have to take your mom or dad to the grocery store, right? You can leave the partner at the house, and you just come, and this is for you to stop, to pause. There is a promo code, and I want to make sure I pop that in there in here as well, so that you can use the promo code. Today is the last day for the promo code, but I want you to take the moment to take 10 minutes. Literally take 10 minutes. I have a video on YouTube that literally we just sit there and we pause for 10 minutes. And I'm walking you through the steps, and I walk you through it, and I want you to do it with me in the video so that one day you can just do it on your own. But the things are out there, the resources and the tools are out there to help you, but you have to be able to figure out, oh, today I'm upset, I woke up mad, and I need to get a handle on that because I'm not going to let that take my whole day. I'm not letting nobody steal my joy anymore. And that's just the fact, right? And so that's where the boundaries and all those other things come in. And so I put the link in the chat. Is the Self Love Parlor Summer Soiree. So that's where we put on our pretty sundresses. I don't suggest wearing heels because it is an outdoor event. So wear some cute sandals, some flip-flops, because there are activities. We will not be running or anything, but you will have to get up and move and walk and then participate in the art therapy. And so that is all for today. I want to thank you, Yanni. Thank you so much for trusting me with your group. Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope that everybody has an amazing happy Thursday, happy Juneteenth, and just have an amazing weekend. Take the time to stop and pause and figure out where you are and figure out what you need, and then take action and go get it. All right, now I'm Chantel Branch, your